Lizzie, who had felt the bashing beneath her, raised her head. "You missed the island." "Yes." "You missed the island. How could you miss the island?" "The tide's too strong. It's taking us out with it." Lizzie put her hand to her head, and Turner thought she might be sick. "I'm going to fall asleep," she murmured. "You can't fall asleep, Lizzie. You've got to keep your eyes open." When you reach Baldhead, when I reach Baldhead, Turner repeated, "the tide will slack some. You can ground. The tide will slack some." Then Lizzie was quiet. Turner looked ahead and saw the rock ledges streaking past and the shore bending away. He moved the dory in closer to the land and stopped rowing altogether, except to keep the bow into the waves. His arms felt trained, and he wasn't sure he could make them do what he wanted them to do when the slack water came. But he waited and watched, hollering back to Lizzie now and again to be sure she stayed awake. But she wasn't hollering back. The copper of the sky had deepened into a dark red, and the dark red was now deepening into the purple of early night. When Turner looked over his shoulder to the east, more than a few stars had already yawned themselves awake and were stretching to begin their run. On the ledges above him there passed a farmhouse, then another, and still another, where yellow lamps were glowing out the windows. He felt the air cooling quickly. Then the rhythm of the waves changed. In a moment they had lost their choppiness and had lengthened into long swells that came slow and syrupy. The boat smoothed out, and it was easy to keep the bow to the low stretches of water that swiped at the dory's nose. Turner thought immediately that they must be at the point. When he looked at the shore, it was hard to tell whether it was bending away or whether it just got lost in the gathering darkness. But he turned into it anyway, rowing with all the might he could summon in his drained arms, pushing back with his legs and grunting with each pull, not even calling to Lizzie because he could not speak and pull at the same time. He felt the dory skim across the swells, cutting through their rhythm, and figured that finally, he was setting their course. As the purple of the sky spread all the way across to the west, he rowed. As more and more stars roused themselves, he rowed. And as the wind picked itself up and wrestled with the tops of the swells, he rowed. He rowed until he realized he had missed the point and they were well out into the bay. And then he stopped.